Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by the head football coach at Calvin University. That, of course, is Trent Figg. Trent, thank you so much for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. There's a ton of excitement around Calvin football right now. Our players are excited, coaches are excited, lots of things going on.
Yeah, of course. So for people that might not know, this is what I like to call year zero. How is year zero going for you guys? Of course, for people that might not know, Calvin is starting, of course, start a football program. Of course, Trent, of course, Coach Figg's the head coach, and of course, this is kind of the year where things are kind of getting implemented and all that, and then their first official season will begin in the fall of 2024. So how, and you just mentioned it, how is this first practice going, and the first few practices, I should say, how are they going so far? And yeah, so just a lot of excitement around you guys right now.
Yeah, so our players reported to campus on August 17th, 61 of them. And it's gone really well. I was very pleased with the way our guys reported to camp from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint. They've been locked in. They're really excited. They've been able to retain a ton of information. We've put in every process, literally from how to walk from the locker room to the practice field, how to stretch, how we break a huddle. All those things are super exciting. Our guys are excited about it. They're working really hard. For the most part, we've stayed healthy, and we'll continue to progress throughout the fall.
Yeah. So going into this this year, what do you feel like? What have you accomplished in these first few weeks that you kind of set out to do when all this was when we talked back in, I believe it was April?
Yeah, so our number one DNA trait of our program is connection. What type of connection do we have as a team, as a staff? And our guys are bonded together. They're really excited about being able to truly lay the foundation for Calvin football. And so just our guys coming together as a team, as a unit, offensively, defensively, as a full team, they've really bought into that, to taking care of each other, to truly embracing this year as a year of development, as a year of growth, as a year of truly laying the foundation for what we're doing going forward.
Yeah. So I know that, I know all 61 guys have really, impressed in this program, but who's really kind of, obviously there are players that stand out above the rest. Who has impressed you so far in this first few weeks?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as a unit, our offensive line has been really solid. I've been very pleased with those guys. 61 brand new players coming in, or you think what you have coming in. But our offensive line they've been really good. I've been very pleased. Coach Steph does a great job with those guys, and their development has been, they've sped the process up more than I thought they'd be able to. From a knowledge standpoint, from a skill standpoint, they've really embraced being a group together. So on the offensive line, that group has stood out to me the most.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you're kind of implementing right now, as this is kind of the new thing for, really everybody here. But what are some of the things that, that you've kind of installed in this program in these first few weeks? What are you making sure that really everybody's doing?
For sure. So it's really cool to start something from scratch, because, kids will meet or try to meet whatever standard you set. And so our standard from the beginning was always going to be, hey, we're going to do this as well and as excellent as we possibly can. And so, the first literally couple of team meetings, we're going through, guys, this is where the locker room is. This is where the practice field is. This is how you walk from here to here. This is how we stretch. This is how we do jumping jacks. After about the first 2 days, when those processes were put into place, we've really been able to move on like a normal football team from there. And so offensively and defensively, I feel really good about our installs, where we're at right now. Really, we've taken the last 2.5 weeks to really install our systems. And so, offensively, I feel like we're right on pace. Defensively, we're right on pace. So the bulk of that part of it is in now. Now we're going to move to more situationally based football. So like this week, we're going to do some periods in the red zone. This week, we're going to do some third down periods to really focus on those different, areas of emphasis that if we were in a normal game plan week, we'd be focusing on the opponent we were playing. Now we can really focus on these situations that you would typically get in fall camp, but we weren't able to because we were literally installing the systems of walking from the locker room to practice.
Let's talk about the quarterback room for a second. How's that been going?
Yeah, it's going really well. We've got three guys in there, and they're all really smart players. They all have a little different skill set. Luca Pryor, Paul Bauma the fourth, and then Jaden LaFleur, all three guys, great kids. They were all good high school quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And they've all been able to really kind of uniquely show their different skill sets. From a rep standpoint, everybody's repping right now. Everybody's playing. We're just really pushing these guys to train, to develop, to lead. And that's where in the quarterback room, I've been really impressed with those guys' abilities to lead.
Yeah. And just defensively, where are we at there? What have you kind of noticed with that group?
Yep. So same thing with the offense. Our defensive line is a really solid group. Our linebacking core is really where we have probably the most college football playing experience. We have some transfers there, guys that played at the colleges that they came from. So the speed of the game for the linebackers is pretty fast right now, which I've been pleased with. Defensive line wise, that's a pretty deep group that we're really excited about coming in. So, those guys, them and the offensive line have really been able to push each other so far.
So going into these next few months, where we what's kind of the timeline? What's next
Yeah.
for kind of this process? So kind of take me through as we kind of count down to the fall of 2024.
Yeah, that's a great question. So this week will be another big week of practice, right? And then next week, um, the following Saturday, so a week from this coming Saturday, will be our first inter squad scrimmage, the 16th. So we're going to treat next week like a game week, right? So it'll be normal game prep. Obviously, we're just playing against ourselves, but they're going to be able to look forward to a game next Saturday. So we'll have another week of just kind of fall camp mode practice this week, and then next week will be a game week. The week after that will be another kind of camp prep mode week, and then the following week we have another scrimmage. So we'll get really kind of two mock game weeks here. So a scrimmage on the 30th or the 16th, a scrimmage on the 30th. And then in October, we're going to jump back into kind of a fall camp training mode and go as long as we can during that month. However long our health holds up, we'll go in October. And then, November, that first weekend in November is the last week of the regular D3 season. So we will shut it down after that season and we'll jump right into the off season there. We'll be like every other team in the country. So we'll be lifting, running, training throughout, till Christmas. Guys will come back after break. We'll go through our cycled off season program. We'll go through spring ball and then we'll be ready to rock for next fall.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously this is another chance because now you can add, guys from the 2024 with class with, the next group of knights to come in there. So, obviously, this is also kind of the class where, they're gonna get to experience year one of the program. So what's that been like to go out and find a bunch of the incoming class? How's that process been going for you guys?
For sure. Yeah. So I got hired January 18th of this past year. So I was basically a year late to the recruiting process for the 2023 class. We feel really good about this class that's on campus, the 2023s. We obviously have another year to recruit the 2024s. So, we got to jumpstart this spring on those guys. And this summer, we were able to evaluate a ton of kids. So right now on Fridays, we go Friday mornings with our current players. So that way, Friday afternoon, we can spend the entire day recruiting. We're out in high school games. We're hitting 8 to 10 games every Friday. Just seeing as many kids, as many coaches as we can. Just really trying to be really proactive in that process with the 2024s. Calvin offers such a unique product that we can provide for our kids. So we're excited about the 2024 class. Like you said, it's going to be the first class that comes in and right away is able to play. So I think that we have a lot of positive response around that right now.
Absolutely. And really and you kind of talked about this a little bit before, but what do you really want to kind of see with this group in these next few weeks and the inter squad scrimmage?
Yeah.
What do you want to really see out of this group in the next few weeks as we kind of continue on in year zero?
Yeah. So the main word for me is growth. Like I want to see these guys get better every single day fundamentally. How can they get better? And their fundamentals. And then once we are able to get into a couple of game situations, we've got to maximize those. It's our only two quote unquote games for this fall. So we've got to maximize situational football, red zone trips, taking care of the football, no penalties, like playing clean football in those scrimmages is really important to me that during the week we're able to really hone in on fundamentals, development, training, and then in the games we're able to really focus on those game type situations.
All right. Trent Figg, the head football coach at Calvin University. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Go Knights.